Hello, everyone. I'm Brownfield anchor reporter Rhiannon Branch coming to you live from the 2021 Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois. We are on segment 3 here with the Illinois Soybean Association and Illinois Corn Growers Association in their tent, number 605. And here we're going to talk a little bit about the power of membership with these two commodity groups, and I'll go ahead and let both of our guest speakers introduce themselves.
Hello there, I'm Ron Kindred I'm Vice Chairman of the Illinois Soybean Association. I farm in Atlanta, Illinois, and we farm 1,600 acres of soybeans and corn. Used to have livestock, but don't have livestock anymore, so that's our operation.
I'm Randy DeSetter, President of Illinois Corn Growers. My hometown is Woodhull, Illinois. I'm right on the Knox and Henry County line there in western Illinois between Galesburg and the Quad Cities. We have a family farm now in its 4th generation. My dad Maurice is still alive, and then there's my brother Jim, our son Matthew, and nephew Drew. We grow corn and soybeans, and harvest is right around the corner.
Yeah, enjoyed a harvest ride along with you last year, Randy. A great place up there on your farm. So talking membership here, we're living in a much more political world today, maybe than ever before. So what is the role of your commodity organizations in this new world?
Our role is to promote what is good for Illinois soybean farmers. We are a main voice for them. We are a membership organization that starts at the grassroots level. We develop our policy from the ground up, so all of our members have a voice in that. And as there's fewer farmers in the country today, it's more and more important that we have these organizations to fight the battles for us, because we have a lot of good experience. We have a reputation we've built up. We have good contacts with our congressmen and our state senators and representatives. And if something needs to get done, we've got a very good track record of getting it done.
Randy?
Well, the pandemic and all these Zoom meetings has really changed how things are done. Some people might think, well, you can't really talk to your legislators anymore. Well, we never missed a beat. We had Zoom meetings with every single congressman and our senators in Illinois all through last year. So we probably talked to them more just because of that. And we've also worked with text messages out to our members if we have an issue, so they can chime in and talk to their congressman, emails. So there's a lot of new ways. You don't have to just visit your legislator in person anymore. You can get through with all these new avenues.
The value that we found with the Zoom is that, on the computer or on the iPad, you're looking one-on-one at each other. I mean, she's looking at your face, or he's looking at your face, and you're looking at theirs, and it's a direct connection, and you've got their full attention. And I think there's a value in that, and I don't see those Zooms stopping completely. I think it's a great way to interact with them, where when they've got time, they can set the schedule, and we adjust to it.
Yeah, I mean, we're still going to do the personal things. We go to Washington a couple times a year, and we visit every congressman in Illinois, whether they're a Democrat or Republican. I find it very interesting that 2 of our black congressmen in Chicago have a farm background, grew up on farms, Bobby Rush and Danny Davis. So it's kind of fun to get to know them and let them understand your issues.
Yeah, we're constantly trying to educate the urban legislators. They don't know a lot about agriculture, and we have to educate them, but they gain a better understanding of why we're taking the position we are and why we're asking for their help. And if we can tie it into their district, then it has much more value to them.
Yeah, and we were there when they voted on the USMCA agreement. A few of us corn growers went out. And every senator and congressman in Illinois except one voted for it. In fact, one of the Congress ladies from Chicago, Jan Schakowsky, said, this is the first trade agreement I've ever voted for. So, all our work paid off.
Definitely. Well, I think you two know just as well as anybody that the individual farmer has a role to play in all of this too, and that's what you two both do with the association. For your fellow farmers who aren't aware, how easy is it to get involved with your associations?
Well, I think, both of our organizations, we have legislative action centers that we use to get our members involved. The first step is getting them to become a member of our association. That's very important. It gives them a voice. They can be part of our policy process by being a member. But also being on this legislative action center, you don't have to be a member. All you have to do is text SOY to 52886. Follow the prompts. Very easy to sign up, and it's very easy to respond to an action request. All you got to do is click on the letter to sign your name, and it sends it automatically to your congressman or senators that's in your district.
Well, really, there's two ways for members to contribute. Of course, number one is to pay your dues and become a member. And that helps run the organization. If you can't come out of the field to do it, people like Ron and I and our staff can do it. But the other ways that people contribute is through the checkoff. That money goes to promote trade, which is so important. And here in Illinois, I mean, I think 40% of our corn goes down the river to be exported. Some of the money goes to the Grains Council to promote trade overseas and new markets. So there's lots of ways to contribute just by becoming a member or contributing your check off. And then I'd also encourage them to get to know their legislators at home, because a call from somebody that they know has a lot more effect than a John Smith that they've never met before. So if you get a chance, get to know your legislators too.
I'm glad you brought up the checkoff, because I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the checkoff and how important it is for soybean farmers in the state of Illinois. You know, one of the big success stories for the checkoff is the biodiesel industry. You know, the checkoff developed the biodiesel. They came up with it, they developed it, and then it took our legislative efforts to make it a reality. So they have to work hand in hand, the checkoff and the advocacy, and that's a great example of how it works.
Well, another great example of working with your legislators is my member of Congress, Sherry Bustos. She just introduced the Next Generation Fuels Act, and she's right in my backyard. She's been to my farm, and now she's going to try to get more biofuels and ethanol out in the marketplace. So just a great example of, you know, if you go and visit them, they'll work on your issues and help you out.
You guys make it even easier for those visiting the Farm Progress Show, because there's several stations here in your tent where there's advocacy opportunities at the Farm Progress Show. So let's talk a little bit about what people can be engaged in here.
Well, I think the main thing is we are promoting our Voice for Soy program, and we're trying to get more farmers to participate in that, because there is strength in numbers, and so we're handing out stickers with the text soy to 52886 to try to get make it easy for people to sign up for the program and be responsive to our needs. And we'll probably have an action request at least once a month, and it's something that is very important that people take seriously, and we need their help.
Well, we also have people signing up. We've got some memberships, people here. We've got people that are willing to sign up to do the text messages to their legislators. And you can do it real easy and just send a form letter in or a form text. But I'd encourage people, if they are signed up for these programs, if they could change a few words, it comes out unique, and that carries a lot more weight. So that's a good hint for people that are, maybe they're concerned about the possible stepped up basis that's been talked about that we might lose, or losing some of the estate tax exemptions. If you could say, I'm Randy DeSetter from Woodhull, Illinois, and my dad's 95 years old, this is going to affect me soon. Stuff like that's important.
I think the thing that we're trying to do here at the show is show the farmers how corn and soybeans are working together. There is more power when we are together, and we're together on a lot of issues, and we're working together on some conservation issues that that's a big push by both the Biden administration and our state administration, climate change. So we're working together, trying to put data together, so we have some ammunition when we are fighting our battles up on the Hill to determine what kind of legislation is okay for us to have.
It wouldn't be Farm Progress Show without a raffle, and you guys have one here in this tent too. We need to mention that. What do you want to touch on?
Yeah, I'll start on that. So we are doing a raffle for the political action committees of both Illinois corn and Illinois soybean, and we're selling tickets, 50-50 raffle. We're selling tickets for $10 a piece, or 6 of them for $50. So we encourage people to come up and be a part of that and take your chances for winning, and it's for a great cause because it's gonna help their bottom line in the long run for what we do.
And the political action committees gain us extra access to these Congress people. I've been where we presented checks, and the congressman always comes, and you get another chance to talk to them and also reward them, because we give it to people that vote our way, that support ag issues. So it's kind of a double thing. We're praising them for what they did and also giving them some money, and then we get access and talk about more issues. So it's well spent.
That's a good point. We, especially if you have an urban legislator that has voted with you on an issue or two, and you can reward them with a thank you. It goes a long ways in relationships for the future.
My final question here before we switch over to our next speakers, one of the most important parts about this is you guys are farmers too. You're out in the field, and I'm going to ask that $1 million question. When do you think you're going to start harvest?
I'm looking at between 2 and 3 weeks. I think we'll be started. We thought that we planted all of our soybeans first this year, which was a different thing for us. We planted half of them first last year, and they made 10 to 15 bushel more than the ones planted in May. So we decided we'd go all in this year, so we planted all our soybeans first, and thought they would be turning by now, but they're still pretty green. We've had a lot of rain, a little good weather, and looks like we'll be doing corn first.
Well, I'm thinking the week of the 13th of September we might start. Unlike Ron, we planted all our corn first, so we planted some corn on April 5th and 6th. And there's been some wind damage in our area.
Yeah.
I got my fingers crossed that we don't have any real bad, although some neighbors do. But some of the corn is starting to mature and dry down, so it just makes you nervous. We've had these wind events over the years. You kind of want to get it out because it really doesn't count till it's in the bin.
Yep, very true. Well, best of luck to you guys this fall. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll go ahead and switch out on our next representatives. For those who are just now joining us, we are live from the Farm Progress Show at booth 605 with the Illinois Corn Growers Association and the Illinois Soybean Association, and we kind of got some closing remarks coming here from Steve and Rob, and I'll let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself to kick us off.
Sure. Steve Pitstick. I farm in the northern part of the state, just outside of Chicago. Corn and soybeans, about 4,400 acres, and I farm with my son, and I'm the new ISA chair this year.
Thank you for the opportunity here, Rihanna. Rob Elliott. I live in Warren County near Monmouth, Illinois. Farm over there corn and soybeans with my two brothers, Rick and Dan, and some nephews. So we're lucky to be where we are in that part of the state. We're looking forward to a good crop, not a great crop maybe, but we look forward to upcoming fall.
We're going to touch on those crops here in a minute, but before we do that, let's talk a little bit about Farm Progress Show and why you guys feel that a presence here is so important.
Sure. I think it gives us an opportunity as an association, be it corn and soybeans, to connect with that grower member, or maybe even more importantly, the folks that aren't members. You get an opportunity to express the value and showcase what you're doing for the industry. Certainly, success in a market just doesn't happen. There's a whole bunch of hard work and resources and investment that go into that, and and things here give us an opportunity to talk to our growers and showcase that a bit.
Steve, anything to add?
Yeah, just to build on that, I think the power of two. All of us are corn and soybean farmers, and being able to come here combined in this tent and show all of what we do, trying to invest those checkoff dollars to advance uses in marketing, utilization, and government policy. We're continuously trying to work with officials, trying to get priorities established to bring us to the next level.
I'd echo those comments about the partnership. Certainly, corn growers value what the partnership with the soybean guys brings to the party here. And I think we'd also like to showcase the other folks that are here, the meat folks, USMEF, Meat Export Federation, the Renewable Fuels, the Grains Council, all the other folks that are industry partners that we don't always probably talk quite enough as part of that check-off investment and where a lot of those dollars go. They're here today.
Correct, and go ahead.
Everything on the grounds is about growing more crop, and this building is about using more of the crop wherever it might be.
And people here aren't just from Illinois. It's a big show. We've got from
all over the world.
Correct,
yes.
So a big audience to talk to. When you guys have the opportunity to connect with a farmer, what are you hearing from them, and do you kind of align what you're hearing with your priorities with the association?
So the message has changed a little bit over the last couple of years. 2 years ago we were looking at export issues, a phase one trade deal. Most of that's matured now. Life is pretty good on the farm, so we're not hearing about a lot of those low prices and trying to fix them. So we're looking at building opportunities for new uses, mainly in the biofuel side, really pushing that as we hear more and more from the public about new green energy and things like that. We can be part of that transition.
Certainly, I think we really try to focus on profitability and sound success out in the market for folks that are corn and soybean growers, as well as the livestock folks that are here as well. But one thing corn growers do, they're looking out ahead. We're looking at opportunities in the market to develop those, be it via exports, be it ethanol for us, or the feed component that comes from corn, for corn and soybeans with cattle and hogs and poultry. So we're strategic is part of the mission. How do we keep this thing going and successful long term?
I was just going to add on the soybean side, over the years, most of my career, soybean meal was the big usage item, and oil was kind of a leftover product that you had to find a market for. In the last 2 years, with renewable diesel, biodiesel, those type of products, we're really moving into the oil as being the driver in the soybean market, and now we're looking for more uses for soybean meal.
With that being said, would each of you go ahead and touch on maybe one of the biggest issues that you're hearing from your fellow farmers right now?
Well, I think one for corn, certainly with some of the legislative folks in and out of here today and yesterday as well, is the opportunity for greater use of ethanol, biodiesel, renewable fuels in this Next Generation Fuels Act that I think Randy and had talked about up here a minute ago with Congresswoman Sherry Bustos. So that was introduced here in the last few days. So we really see that again as that strategic look ahead of where we can be down the road. And so for us, that ethanol market is pushing 5 billion bushel of corn. And for us to be successful, we need to maintain that down the road. And that potential legislative bill is a really big deal.
Steve, I know that's important for soybean growers too. Do you have another issue that comes to mind?
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot of stuff in the news about infrastructure. Lots of talk about that, it's front and center. And infrastructure is very vital to us in agriculture, whether it's the roads, bridges, but most importantly the waterways. 60% of the soybeans are exported out of Illinois, so we really need vital infrastructure. So looking at that all the time.
Corn growers have worked for a long time on this whole lock and dam situation with the aging infrastructure that was built in the 30s. So I think the impact of that waterway on our market is pretty evident when we see some of what this Hurricane Ida has done to the market just the last couple of days. So we've got our fingers crossed that this infrastructure, this first go around, can become a reality, and we can really do some fixes on those aging locks and dams that are, if we're going to stay competitive worldwide, we really need that perked up and fixed up and long-term viable for our next generation of folks that are coming behind us.
For sure. Let's touch on some of the ways that people can connect and check in with ISA and Illinois Corn throughout the year. You guys have got different social media platforms and things. Talk to us about those.
Yeah, so in soy, we're everywhere on social media, including TikTok.
You're on TikTok, Steve? Can you do some dancing for me?
I can, little fancy like.
Little fancy
Sure.
like.
No, but we've got a website. We've got the Field and Bean magazine that gets out across all of our membership. We've got many platforms where you can see what we're doing. In the wintertime, we have the Soy Summit. That's a really great to bring producers together, kind of right before spring planting, get us in the mood to go out and raise a big crop.
You know, Corn Growers is working kind of all the time to kind of connect with growers like we talked about here. There's an annual survey we do to kind of see what's important for people. We'll do some farm bill listening sessions as we get into that next go around of things there. Certainly, again, as we mentioned, all those social media and other ways to connect are important. But the one thing I will say that's been a great accomplishment is, I think you talked about it a little bit here earlier, is the ability to send a turnkey message to a legislator. We've made that so simple. We've hounded people for years to connect, but we've now accomplished making it simple enough even somebody as technically challenged as myself can even pull it off. So,
and you don't have to be a farmer.
Yeah, you don't. And we're seeing a lot of folks over here today that over here at the booths that have done that text to the, and I can't do it as good as Kindred was doing it here a minute ago, but certainly it's pretty simple.
Steve, you guys have got a relatively new magazine out too.
Yeah, it's kind of a redesigned magazine. It's more farmer focused. A lot of positive feedback on that. 10 issues a year, just really talking about all the things that matter to farmers.
Illinois Field and Bean, correct?
Illinois Field and Bean.
Yep,
yes.
comes in my mailbox. So I want to switch gears a little bit, and since you guys are farmers too, and we've got harvest coming up, talk a little bit about what crops are looking like in your area, and then, you know, the $1 million question, when you think you might be able to start harvest this year.
Well, I think the crop, albeit some of it was planted relatively early, we had such cold conditions early on that we really didn't get it growing quite as quick. So I'm thinking we're, for a lot of the early planted stuff, we're still a couple weeks off, or maybe 3. Planting in our part of the world where it was a little bit wet, not a little bit, it was a lot wet during planting. It's scattered out over a month period, so harvest will be delayed in some pieces and parts of the world around there. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think we have a good crop, not a great crop. The corn is coming along quicker than it really needs to right now with some disease coming in. I think there were people wishing they'd almost sprayed a second fungicide this year. So we'll see what happens. Time will tell, and when the combine rolls, we'll know how good it is.
Correct. Steve?
So yeah, I'm in the northern part of the state, kind of more northeast, maybe 100 miles from Rob. We had an extremely dry spring. We had 3 inches of rain total in the month of April, May, and June. Got crops planted really well. Emergence was a little problematic. Herbicide was a problem. But by the end of June, it started raining, and we're sitting really good. I don't think it's a record crop, but it's a really good crop. We're excited to get to harvest, probably 3 to 4 weeks out. But yeah, really looking forward to a good harvest.
The message we send out needs to be, we don't have near as many bushels as what we thought. I always am a proponent of less bushels, higher price, so if that makes sense. Okay?
Yeah, I'll take it. You heard all that, right?
Yeah. I am a farmer. I could complain a little bit.
Yeah, we could complain, but, you know, we're keeping positive message here, which really, I mean,
it's a good crop.
It could be a lot worse. So, you know, to wrap us up here, let's talk about looking forward, past Farm Progress Show, what is kind of in the pipeline for Illinois corn, Illinois soybean, and your partnership together, kind of bringing together this Power of Two message beyond Farm Progress Show, and what people can be looking for from your associations?
I think historically we've probably not had near the synergy level that we probably could have taken advantage of. So I think what's going on here is a great way to look forward in the future. And as I mentioned a minute ago, if we need to be strategic, we can't really always be focused on the problems of the here and now. We want to be looking out 5 years and better down the road, so that we're doing activities and policy regulation kind of oversight that we're impacting down the road and not just today.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the climate action, climate bill. Both of us are part of the biofuels industry, and where that goes, we can be part of the solution. It's going to be a long time before it's all electric. We can be part of that for the next 20, 30 years, using those biofuels to help solve some of the problems.
I think this whole climate credit world is kind of the Wild West. I don't think everybody's got it quite figured out. I think a lot of folks are taking the approach that we're going to be kind of cautious on what we commit to and kind of watch and see. But I think some of the things that we've got going here with this precision conservation management and some of these efforts that we can be part of the solution, as Steve mentioned, will contribute to that whole climate impact and those climate credits down the road. So,
either of you have anything else you'd like to add from Farm Progress Show or what's going on in the booth before we sum things up?
It's great to see all the farmers here. Today's got a giant crowd. It just, I think, a lot of pent-up demand to come out and see what's going on in ag after a year off, and we've had great activity through the booth here. Really happy with all the turnout.
I'd like to thank you and your counterparts in the industry, that without Brownfield and a voice to talk to not only our fellow farmers, but if we can advocate with the folks outside of the farm community that don't really get it, that's a pretty big deal. So thank you for being here.
And we appreciate working with you guys, especially as farmers, as long as you order this weather for next year.
Done.
Perfect. All right. Well, that sums up our kind of trio of live videos from the Farm Progress Show with the Illinois Soybean Association and Illinois Corn Growers Association. Great conversation today, and we'll look forward to connecting soon at some of the events that you guys have mentioned. So, live from the Farm Progress Show, I'm Rhiannon Branch with Brownfield.